Right now, at this very moment, somewhere in the world, someone is lying awake at 2 a.m. Not because they're in danger, not because something terrible has happened, but because their own mind won't stop. What if I said the wrong thing? What if I make the wrong decision? What if everything falls apart? Sound familiar? Overthinking is the silent thief of modern life. It steals your sleep, poisons your joy, and keeps you paralyzed right at the moment you need to act most. But here's what most people don't know. Over 2,000 years ago, a group of ancient philosophers already had the answer. They were called the Stoics, and they didn't just talk about mental peace. They lived it through war, exile, slavery, and the fall of empires. Today, on Wisdom of the Stoics, we're going to give you 7 powerful habits, drawn directly from Stoic philosophy, that will help you stop overthinking, take back control of your mind, and finally live with clarity and calm. Stay until the end, because habit number 7 is the one most people never hear about, and it might be the most powerful of all. Before we dive into the habits, we need to understand the enemy. Overthinking isn't a character flaw. It's not a sign that you're weak or broken. Psychologists tell us it's actually a survival mechanism, your brain trying to protect you from every possible threat. The problem? Your brain can't tell the difference between a lion chasing you and a text message you haven't received yet. Marcus Aurelius, Roman emperor, warrior, and one of history's greatest Stoic minds, wrote in his private journal. He wrote that not because he had an easy life. He wrote it while leading armies, managing political betrayal, and watching a plague kill thousands of his own people. He was the most powerful man on earth, and even he had to remind himself every single day to master his thinking. So if you've been struggling, you're in good company. Now, let's fix it. Habit number 1, the dichotomy of control. This is the foundation of all Stoic thinking, and it's the single most powerful tool against overthinking ever conceived. Epictetus, a man who was born into slavery, beaten, and had his leg broken by his master, became one of the most respected philosophers of the ancient world. And his entire philosophy rested on one simple idea. There are 2 categories in life: things within your control, your thoughts, your actions, your effort, your attitude, your response. Things outside your control, other people's opinions, the economy, the weather, the past, the future, death. Here's what overthinking really is. It's spending enormous mental energy on the second list. We replay conversations we can't change. We worry about judgments that may never come. We try to control outcomes that were never ours to control. The Stoic habit. Every morning, take 60 seconds. Write down your biggest worry, then draw a line down the middle of your page. On one side, what you can control about it. On the other, what you cannot. Then make a decision. Act on the first list. Release the second. This isn't giving up. This is precision. This is power. Habit number 2. Anchor yourself to the present moment. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Overthinkers live everywhere except now. They live in the past, rehearsing old mistakes. They live in the future, rehearsing fears that haven't happened." The Stoics called the present moment the only place where life actually exists. The past is a memory. The future is a story. Only now is real. The Stoic habit. When you notice your mind spiraling, stop. Name 5 things you can see right now. Feel your feet on the floor. Take 3 slow breaths. This isn't mystical. It's neurological. You are literally pulling your brain out of its threat detection loop and grounding it in physical reality. Seneca said it best. The mind that overthinks is a mind that has been allowed to time travel unchecked. Your job is to bring it home. Habit number 3, premeditatio malorum, the premeditation of evils. Now this one sounds dark, but stay with me, because when you understand it, it completely changes how you think. The Stoics had a daily practice of imagining the worst-case scenario, not to terrify themselves, but to neutralize fear. Think about it. Overthinking is mostly fear of the unknown. We spin in circles because we don't know what will happen. The Stoic solution? Look the worst in the face, deliberately. What is the absolute worst that could happen? Could I survive it? Have others survived worse? Almost always, the answer is yes. Seneca wrote, The Stoic Habit. Once a week, take your biggest fear and walk it all the way to the worst outcome. Write it down. Ask yourself honestly, would life go on? In most cases, it would. And in that realization, your mind stops needing to spin. The unknown has been faced. The monster under the bed has been dragged into the light. And somehow, it's never as big as you thought. Habit number 4. Motion over meditation. One of the cruelest tricks overthinking plays on us is this. It disguises inaction as preparation. We tell ourselves, I'll act once I've thought it through fully. But that moment never comes, because the overthinking mind doesn't know when to stop thinking. It only knows how to generate more questions. The Stoics were radically pragmatic. They were people of action. Marcus Aurelius ran an empire. Cato stood against Caesar. Epictetus rebuilt himself from slavery. They didn't wait until the conditions were perfect. They moved. The Stoic Habit. Introduce the 2-minute decision rule. If a decision won't matter in 5 years, give it 2 minutes. Then act. Reserve your deep thinking only for decisions that truly deserve it. Action breaks the loop every single time. Because here's what the Stoics understood. Our clarity doesn't always come before action. Sometimes it only comes through it. Habit number 5. Selective attention. Curate what enters your mind. Marcus Aurelius wrote something that should be printed on every phone screen in the world. What you consume, you become. If you feed your mind endless news cycles, social media comparison, gossip, and doomsday content, your mind will produce fear, anxiety, and overthinking. It cannot do otherwise. It's working with the material you gave it. The Stoics were ruthlessly intentional about mental inputs. They practiced journaling to process thoughts deliberately. They studied philosophy to replace fear with reason. They spent time in silence and nature to let the mind settle. The Stoic Habit. Conduct a 7-day mental diet audit. Reduce social media consumption by 50%. Replace 1 hour of passive scrolling with reading, walking, or journaling. Begin each morning with 5 minutes of silence before checking your phone. You cannot stop overthinking if you are continuously overloading the system. Guard the gates. Be the gatekeeper of your own mind. Habit number 6. Amor fati. Love your fate. This is perhaps the most counterintuitive of all Stoic ideas. We overthink in large part because we resist reality. We want things to be different than they are. We replay the past, wishing it had gone differently. We dread the future, wishing we could rearrange it. The Stoics offered a radical alternative. Don't just accept what happens. Love it, not as blind optimism, not as weakness, but as the ultimate act of mental strength, choosing to find meaning and possibility in whatever life hands you. Marcus Aurelius called this amor fati. Nietzsche later popularized the phrase. But the Stoics lived it first. The Stoic Habit. When something goes wrong, and something always will, ask yourself, how could this be exactly what I needed? Not as a denial of pain, but as a genuine search for meaning. The overthinker asks, why did this happen to me? The Stoic asks, what can I do with this? That single shift in question changes everything. And now, habit number 7, the one I promised you. The one most people never hear about. The Stoic evening examination. Every single night, without exception, Seneca sat down in quiet and asked himself 3 questions. What weakness did I overcome today? What virtue did I practice? What could I have done better? This practice, this simple, nightly ritual of honest self-reflection, does something extraordinary to the overthinking mind. It gives the mind a container. You see, overthinking often spirals because thoughts have nowhere to go. They just loop endlessly with no resolution. The evening examination creates a moment of deliberate closure each day. You process consciously on your own terms, rather than letting your subconscious do it at 3 a.m. when you're trying to sleep. The Stoic Habit. Tonight, not tomorrow. Tonight, before you sleep, open a journal and write the answers to those 3 questions. Keep it to 5 minutes. Don't overthink it. Do this for 30 days. and watch as the anxious, spiraling noise in your mind begins, slowly, powerfully, to quiet. Marcus Aurelius ruled the most powerful empire in the known world. But he spent more words in his private journal, writing about one thing above all others: conquering himself, not his enemies, not his critics, not the plague or the politics or the betrayal. Himself, because the Stoics understood something that modern psychology is only now catching up to. The quality of your outer life is determined almost entirely by the quality of your inner life. And the battlefield of the inner life is the mind. You now have 7 weapons. 1, are separate to what you control from what you don't. 2, anchor yourself to the present moment. 3, face your worst fears and diffuse them. 4, act imperfectly, bravely, now. 5, guard what enters your mind. 6, love your fate. Find meaning in every moment. 7, examine your day every evening with honest eyes. These aren't just ideas, they are daily practices. And like any practice, they only work if you do them. The Stoics didn't promise you a life without pain or uncertainty. They promised something better, a mind that can face anything clearly, calmly, powerfully. If this video gave you even one idea that brought you peace, share it with someone who needs it. They may be lying awake tonight, fighting their own thoughts. And if you want to go deeper into Stoic philosophy, subscribe to Wisdom of the Stoics. New videos every week, built to give you the ancient tools to navigate the modern world. Drop in the comments. Which habit are you starting today? I read every single one. Until next time, guard your mind. That is your empire.